So the 3 skills we focused on this year are sourcing, contextualization or context, and corroboration. And the context is everything that's happening at that general time period and trying to bring in all the information of a particular time period to a document or a textbook passage that you are reading. Okay, so yesterday you read a little bit about Gandhi, right? You read a little bit about who he was, what his philosophy was. We're going to learn a little bit more about his philosophy, what he thinks, by reading a primary source document. And we're going to contrast that with Ho Chi Minh, who was the leader of the, anyone remember which country Ho Chi Minh was from? Yep, Jack?
Vietnam.
Vietnam, exactly. So you're going to study his philosophy of how he wanted to resist or fight back against the French. Okay? So the goal of the lesson was to get students to contrast Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence with Ho Chi Minh's philosophy of a violent resistance, and to continue to practice the context skill that I had already introduced previously in the unit. So the way I'd set this up was to have a warm-up where I put them in the position of Gandhi and Ho Chi Minh. Here's what you are going to imagine for yourselves this morning, okay? You're going to imagine that the rules at Summit are totally different, okay? You're going to get 5 hours of homework every single night, without fail, okay? The school day no longer ends at 3:10. School day ends now at 5 p.m. So you're at school from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then when you go home, you have 5 hours of homework to do. So I want you to imagine this new scenario, and what you're going to do in your notebooks is you are going to write, how would you choose to fight back against this? Okay, what would you do to lead the resistance against these new changes? Every single solution is on the table. Think about what we learned in the French Revolution. Think about what we learned for the Industrial Revolution. What are the different ways that you can resist and fight back? Okay, explain in at least 3 to 4 sentences. You have 4 minutes of silent work time to do that. All right, go ahead and put your pens and pencils down, please. We're going to figure out who our lucky lottery winner is today. Carson's going to pick the first person.
Sierra.
Sierra. Okay, in the back, go ahead and tell us, how would you fight back against this horrible injustice?
I would say I would join or start a rebellion and then stop doing homework, or not like ditch class at 3 because going to 5 is really late. Also eating during class. So
she's just gonna actively defy the rules. She's just gonna eat during class. You're gonna stop. You're gonna leave at 3 o'clock. Okay, Isabel, next person. Joe.
I'd have to say the teachers would be, not to copy Churchill here, but sponged, purged, and if need be, wiped off the face of the earth.
You're telling me you're gonna kill me?
Yeah.
Wow. This is the only time in class when this is acceptable to say such things. Okay, all right, so you're going the more violent resistance path.
Yeah.
Okay, other ideas, really quick, other ideas.
I would try like collective bargaining with the teachers and maybe coming up with like
You
a
like
compromise.
that vocabulary from the Industrial Revolution? Very nice, okay. Tell us, you're gonna collectively bargain with who?
With maybe the teachers or like the school board to come up with like a compromise between the students and the teachers.
And I think those kinds of situations are always effective because it really gets kids to like tie their life to like what's happening in a historical time period that they have no like really reference to, right? So start with like an engaging warm-up and then get right into the document analysis. We're going to do the first one kind of guided together as a class, and then the second one you're going to do in pairs on your own, okay? And then we're going to, we're practicing our historical thinking skill this unit, context. Someone remind the class really quick, raise the hand, tell us what is big C context? What are we looking for?
It's like what overall happened, like in the past, like what's going on during that time, not like what's going on with the event, but like during that time period.
Great. So the way I have kids visualize the big C and the little c is that you have kind of like a donut diagram. So you have like one circle, that's the big C, all the stuff that's happening. Inside, within that big C, you have another little circle, and that's the little c context. And that's that like one specific day or, month in this particular time period. Go ahead and look at your homework, find one piece of big C context, and go ahead and raise your hand when you found it. One thing that we could put here about what the British are doing to the Indian people.
That the British people started taxing the salt that Indian eating.
Okay, great. So we can put in here on our sheet the salt tax. Why was that important, Manny?
It was too high.
Okay, so it was too high. So Indian people couldn't afford the salt tax. What else? That's one.
I think around the same time they started the INC, like the Indian, what's it called? National Congress.
Okay, excellent. So Indians started their independence movement. They made their own political party. And they already have one that's kind of running the show. And it's called the INC, or the Indian National Congress. Excellent. And let's go with an event that's a little bit closer to this time period. Yes?
The Amritsar massacre.
Okay, so that's a really important one. 1,500 people, innocent Indian people who were protesting, were killed, right? So this is one of those times of oppression, right? When everybody's furious that the British soldiers have fired and killed upon innocent civilians, and Gandhi's telling them, don't fight back. Fight back this way. Don't actually be violent. Fight back with nonviolence. And the context is kind of like accessing prior knowledge. But it's even, I think, one step above that, is using the context to really paint a picture of what it was like right then and there when this document was being written and what people are thinking at that time period, and understanding historical events, not from a present day perspective, but from the perspective of the people who lived in that time period. And that's a really, really hard skill for a lot of ninth graders to do. Okay, you guys did a great job. We have a lot of the big C, big context, what's going on in that general time period. Where do we go to find the little c? Yes?
The source.
The source! Okay, so we're gonna go right here. So I'd love someone to raise a hand and give me one piece of little c context that we can put right in here. One piece of it. Okay.
And it was in a newspaper called Young India.
Great. So we have it's a newspaper, Young India, 1925. Excellent. So you guys did a great job. You brainstormed the big C and the little c. Here is what I'm going to ask you guys to do next. You have the actual document right here. Okay? You're going to read that document with your partner, and then you and your partner are going to answer the questions below in your notebook. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and turn to your partner. So let's go ahead and make sure we do that. Let's turn to our partners, Okay, so your 8 minutes to go ahead and read and answer the questions starts now.
What is Gandhi saying when he states it is not nonviolence if we merely love those that love us? It is nonviolence only when we love those that hate us. What would this look like with India? I don't know.
I said that.
That's right.
I said that it would look like India accepting and embracing the English rules.
Okay.
Why is he like talking about love?
What does that have to do with nonviolence?
To like be peaceful and stuff.
Okay, to be peaceful with other people. Okay, let me give you an easy question. Do you love your mom?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously, right? Because she's your mom and you love her. So he's saying, look, loving people that love you, that's easy to do. That's simple.
Oh, it's nonviolence when you like love those that don't love.
Exactly. It is nonviolence only when we love those that hate us. Let's go quickly to number 3. Taking into account the context of the time period. So everything we brainstormed at the very top, okay? And everything the British have done to the Indians. Would you support Gandhi's philosophy if you were an Indian person at that time period?
At that time, I'd probably be too angry to agree with Gandhi's philosophy.
Give me a piece of context that we brainstormed in the beginning. What were some of those things that made you angry?
Like the salt tax, the massacre, the fact that we had to farm for somebody else, we couldn't even farm for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. There were really mixed feelings at this time on Gandhi's philosophy.
I think context helped me, specifically in those documents, where we looked at Gandhi and what was going on in that time period. Obviously, there was a lot of hostility from the English towards the Indians, and that